being able to search within yourself for those hidden answers to questions that just don't seem to fully be answered by outside sources. And the soul within you knows, the power within you knows deep down that you have your own inner reserve to draw from, that you can find moments of stillness, and you can search within in many different ways. So today we'll be talking about examples of how to actually do that, different ways that allow you to find your inner truth, that allow you to have downloads, that allow you to channel is another thing that it's called, where you are able to find those answers that just seem to come from somewhere else. They come from a larger source. They come from the wind and the environment around you, the channel that you have opened throughout your mind to receive these answers when you are listening for them. It's exciting to talk about because it's something that I say still because I have been practicing a lot of different meditations and a certain way of life that has worked for me for a very long time. But even when you find those ways that work, there are many, many years of conditioning you have to get past, you have to get through, and have to battle between along the way. So when you find enlightenment, or when you find a meditative practice that works for you, or when you find ways that you're able to connect to your source and spirit and have prayer time and have alone time and have time for your spiritual growth, everything that you're working through doesn't just go away. You have to consciously work at it and also realize that it's a lifelong commitment. Things are always going to come up. And so I say all that to say it's still a conscious effort for me, even as I have made it to a certain phase of my life where I feel that I can come and share what actually works, and in the hopes that it reaches the right ears. Confident in what I'm preaching, right? But it's still, I would say it's one of the biggest tools in my back pocket. So when you need this tool, it can look like many different things. It can look like just closing your eyes, like I did before recording this video, and just closing your eyes. It could be just that simple, because the act of closing your eyes connects you to infinite knowledge. Just by taking away the picture that you are seeing and reducing it to nothing, therefore having access to everything. So simple, closing your eyes. Simplest thing you can do to just connect really quickly and allow yourself to feel your body, if that's something you want to do. Because feeling your body is also one of the most obvious ways you can go within, feeling your body as you stretch, feeling your body as you breathe, paying attention to the breaths and seeing how it feels to breathe when you're conscious of your breathing. You'd be surprised how many times a day we go breathing seemingly normally, but we may not be aware that we're holding our breath. We may not be aware that we're breathing inconsistently or holding tension. Most times it is just a way that our bodies react on autopilot. And so going within can be a moment that you check in with how you're breathing, to check in with yourself and say, okay, what am I actually feeling right now? Seems like such a foreign concept to ask yourself at different points of the day when you need to. We're not taught to check in with ourselves because it serves a larger force to disconnect us from that truth. But that's neither here nor there. We're not talking about the larger force today. Today we're talking about us, your greatest superpower in the resistance of a culture that thrives off of your disconnection. When you can connect with yourself, you will find whatever you're seeking, whether that be a connection through someone else, a connection through a place, some sort of synchronicity, some sort of message will always be found in the body, in the mind, in the beingness that is you. Checking in with your energy, checking in with your aura, seeing what your actual environment is. A lot of times we are in the same environment for so long that we are not aware of a lot of the details and how they may be affecting us. Environment is everything to me, and how I have chosen to live in a conscious way through the world that gives me the most out of life. I notice when I change my environment, I'm changing my entire brain chemistry. I'm changing the way that I relate to the world based off of the movements in the environment and how it is feeding me. That can be something to try for you as well. If you have the luxury, and it depends on what you call luxury at this point, when you are considering changing the scene of your dream, even just for a short amount of time, because you never know what's really affecting you through your environment if you don't take yourself out of that environment to see the difference. A lot of times that's why when you go on vacation, you're able to see things clearly all of a sudden. And it's pretty powerful. So I'm a world traveler. I'm a nomad. I travel many different places all over the world. And so I'm able to see in very drastic ways how environment can be very, what's the word? Environment, of course, can be everything, but it can be the wiring that codes your mind and how you relate to the world, what sort of beliefs you adopt, how you react and interact to other people, with other people. All of that can be conditioned or deconditioned when you expand your mind through expanding your environment, going to different places and seeing what kind of person you become. That's how you know what's really going on in here. Right? And that's just another way. I love being here in the Dominican. It has a special part of my heart now that I've been here so long, and there are so many different parts of the island where you can have so many different kinds of experiences. So I've been able to see a lot of different parts of myself through that, through just moving around and seeing how different the eastern part of the island is to the south of the island to the north, all very different. And so it can be a beautiful, wonderful experience full of surprises, which is what we want out of life, right? You notice when things start to become humdrum, when you start to go in loops. And those loops are also gifts, but if you become aware of the loop, you can break the cycle and do something different. And you may come back to the loop, and that's okay. Because when you come back, it just means that there's more for you to work on. There's more for you to be aware of and let go of. That's it. Letting go in that process, and even the action of awareness, comes from being able to listen to what's really going on inside, in here, and in here, and in here, and in the hips and the knees and the toes, all the things. I love the concepts of the correlations of organs to your emotions in traditional Chinese medicine. That may be something you want to explore if you're looking for something really specific when it comes to how you can work with specific parts of the body, if that is of interest to you. But when it comes to the action of listening, because listening is an active process, I have found in many ways throughout the growth of my life this past year, and being in remote sales and being connected to so many different, even more people than I had access to before, when I was just kind of in a liminal space, learning and growing spiritually, traveling the world, but not really connecting to people the way that we can over video chats. And the way that we're connected in the world right now is just so massive. You can contact and have access to so many different people through the internet. The internet is it a great world wonder? Have we announced that yet in the world? I think that's a thing. I think we are categorizing the World Wide Web and this void of information we have access to as a world wonder. And if it's not already, it should be. It is really amazing how much we can come together, but it's also a sign that we need to have an equal amount of balance, being able to go without and find any piece of information we could ever want out there, and having all kinds of algorithms cater to our desires and our interests and what captures our attention, to be able to balance that attention to another power that could be even greater, to have the skill to access the power of going within, to be able to balance the external resources that we have with our internal resources that are always there. What is the most beautiful thing that comes out of that? Being able to balance both, being able to know that you have access to both, is being able to marry them, knowing what action to take through the external, through your physical actions, and being able to externalize all of your internal knowledge through the connections we get to have all around the world in this amazing, amazing time and day and age that we live in. Finding out how that works for you and not following anyone else's map when it comes to being an influencer or showing up online. A lot of the answers that we seek to find when it comes to connection, something that we all need, something that we are coming here for, at the end of the day, in our heart of hearts, why we reach for our phones and our computers and our devices in the first place, is to find that connection, whether it be through something funny or something that feels like you have a mentorship or a friend, or being able to study literally anything you want You can learn how to do anything you want these days at the touch of your fingers when you have the privilege of having access to the internet. With all of that being said, and with all of that knowledge, being aware that we have that, we also have the responsibility to be responsible, to have power over this seemingly infinite resource that we have. We also have another infinite resource. That is you. That is your soul. That is your ability to connect to this infinite river of information, this collective consciousness, the all-seeing I you can connect to whenever you want, literally whenever you want. It's pretty awesome. I know. And it's even more awesome when you put this into practice, when you can understand that you have your own World Wide Web within your body, and that it just gets stronger and the signal keeps getting stronger the more you tune into it, the more you strengthen it, the more you go to it and let it know that it's important to you. This infinite source of love that can show you how abundant life can be, can show you how connected you can be to yourself, to what actually flows and what is easy when you can connect to whatever comes. Whatever comes. Sometimes it's pain, and that's okay. The pain is a great, great teacher, as long as you're willing to sit with it. And this doesn't have to be some crazy amount of trauma that comes up. Like, that can happen if you go that deep, if you're in the desert in Sedona at a retreat. You know, things happen. But really, I'm also referring to the pain, the simple pain that you feel in your knees when you've been sitting a certain way for too long. The simple pain that you may feel in the backs of your shoulders that you can't explain. Like, what is that? Why does it keep coming up? It just wants your attention. And a lot of times you'll find, a lot of times it works out to where, let the motorcycle pass. A lot of times it works out to where if you can sit with something and acknowledge it and not force it to go away, it goes away on its own. It just wanted you to acknowledge it as a part of you and just see what's up. Sometimes it's a simple lesson, sometimes it's a lot deeper and requires more of your attention, and that should also be okay in order for you to move past it, in order for you to free up that space. And then one day you no longer feel that annoying pain that was there that you couldn't explain, that no one could explain, the chiropractors, anyone. They're like, I don't know why this won't go away for you. Maybe try this exercise, maybe try this pill. When really all it takes a lot of times is your acknowledgement. Because every part of you, all of the triggers, all of the pain, all of the joy, all of the memories, the good and the bad, is a part of you. And our task with just going within ourselves and taking the time to feel ourselves and be with ourselves and love on ourselves and give ourselves what we need and find out what those things are, because they're always shifting and changing depending on the phases that we're in life. Just check it in every day in a different way so that we can be guided through the inherent wisdom that we've been given as powerful beings and souls on this earth to be able to create and do anything we want to do. First comes the belief that you can do that. I know it's hard, but belief is just a thought that you think over and over and over. And if you start to think different thoughts, you'll end up with different beliefs. It's the people who are willing and daring to think differently, to question themselves. I'm going to pause for that. And to question what they've been fed by the world around them. People who are willing to curate their feed every so often to make sure that what they're digesting is something that they choose to digest. Those who will get it will get it. I know that was pretty deep, but at the end of the day, it's up to you, right? At the end of the day, it's up to you whether you want to stay in that place that feels low vibrational, that feels like complaining and going through the loop and wondering why nothing's working, always seeing the negative of a situation. Just being aware of when that happens and choosing to think differently will change everything about what you're seeing, about what you're experiencing, and your ability to do whatever you want to do in this life. Whatever you want. It's possible. I know I'm living it right now. The magic of life and the beauty of what life can be when you listen to that inner guidance, when you work in co-creation with your God, with the universe, with the force that binds all of us, and just see how it goes. Things can change in an instant, or things might take a little bit more time for you to notice. But the fact that things can change in an instant, you just have to have the awareness of seeing how. Opening your eyes to something new. Being able to see more externally by seeing more internally. Yeah, that's how you do it. That felt good. Hopefully this was helpful. I am starting to sweat a lot. I'm in a part of the house that is just open with lots of floor-to-ceiling windows, but lots of plants that need the circulation, and this seemed like the most aesthetic place to come and do a little gift giving while being in a cozy space. That's how I really want to do this. And it's been nice. But all that to say, I think it's time to call it. And I hope this was helpful. I'm going to go upload this now, and hopefully it hits the right ears. And I look forward to coming back and sharing even more. Feels so good. And I love seeing all the new people who are able to connect with this information and want to continue this oral transmission of really powerful concepts that I believe could help anyone. And it's just the act of remembering. When you hear something that you resonate with, it's not that you're learning it for the first time, it's that your soul is infinite. Each of our souls are infinite, and something that you hear that really clicks for you is a remembering. We are remembering together. And the mosquitoes are starting to get at me, so it's time to move. It's time to go outside. The sun is shining. The pool has been freshly filled up with seawater. It's going down. I'm excited. It's going to be a good day, and I'm happy that I was able to come here and share this with you. Please let me know if there's anything else specific that we should go over together and attract more like minds. Until then. I'll see you next time.